All right, my Alpha Futures family, we are back with another trader interview. Today, I'm here with my friend William. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. Anybody that doesn't know, my name is Ben Chafee. I'm the COO here at Alpha Futures, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know William here today, and he'll talk about some of his success. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, William.
Hello, everybody. My name is William Kumsen. I've been trading for about 4 years now. I started getting into prop firms and prop firm challenges last year, but more seriously at the end of last year into this year. Right now, I am still working a full-time job, but I'm hoping that with my trading, now that I've started to get profitable last year, that I can start building up to a point where I have a big enough personal account to go full time. Hopefully, maybe at the end of this year or the end of next year.
Awesome. What do you do for work, William? Where are you located?
I'm located in Cleveland, Ohio, and I work for the government in transportation.
Nice. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for a little bit over a year.
Okay, cool. And trading, you said, prop firms have been about a year, but what got you into trading in the first place?
So what got me into trading was it went back into so actually I was trying to save up money for medical school. I had just got accepted into medical school at the Xavier University of Medicine, Aruba. And the problem with medical school is it's very expensive and there's not much financial aid. So I was looking for ways to make money online. Was already working on campus at the time, but the campus jobs don't really pay very well. So I was looking for something that I could add on top and make money online. And so that's when I discovered trading. I saw someone's post on Instagram. It looked a little like fishy. I'm like, what is this? I'm always wary of like, oh, make money online type stuff. So I eventually just looked at it and I'm like, wow, if this is true, this could be really cool. So if it was for binary options, and so I first started in binary options. And the first day I started trading after watching a whole bunch of videos, I turned $100 into 1,000 and I was hooked. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be rich. This is incredible. And then I ended up continuing to overtrade and blowing it that same day. And then I'm like, man, why did I do this? So it was a very quick emotional high, then a very quick emotional low. And then, believe it or not, the following day, I did the same thing. I turned $100 into $1,000 again. And you would think by now I would have learned my lesson to just take the money and just say, all right, I made money, that's cool. But I'm like, no, I can keep flipping this higher and higher. I'm like, I'm going to flip it to 10,000. And so I ended up blowing that again later on that week. And so after that, I'm like, okay, if I know I can make money in this, but I have to reformulate how I'm going to do this. I have to find a way, an approach that actually is consistent and does not just feel like gambling. And so eventually later on down the line, I got into the foreign exchange market. And that's when my passion for trading really kicked up to a whole nother notch. Luckily, this was during the pandemic. So I had plenty of time to just study. I would study up to 16 hours a day. I would literally not eat, as not great as that sounds, because I was just so passionate about checking the charts. The only time I would leave is to go to the gym, and then I would come right back and I would be on the charts from the time I woke up until when I went to bed early in the morning. And then that passion just continued to build and build and build. And then I finally, after some years and after some blown accounts, I finally got to a point where I was comfortable with the strategy that I was doing. And I think in that beginning process, you're going to fail. And I watched a lot of trader interviews and trader podcasts to know that most people, when they start off, they don't know what they're doing at all. They don't know risk management. I definitely didn't. I'd never even heard of risk management. And so I was, making money, risking whatever. And then I'm just like, why is it that I'm making money and then I'm just losing all of it? And then eventually, once I figured out risk management, I was able to start steadily making gains over time. But that's why I recommend like starting on demo for a lot of people, just so that they can build up a base to where they're comfortable and so they're not just blowing tons of money. Because that's the advice I got when I first started. I was looking on YouTube and they said to start on demo. So I did that. I didn't open a live account until probably like either a year or two in to my trading journey, specifically because of my experience with binary options. I was so scarred after that. I didn't want to lose any more money, even though my total investment for that was only $200. I I just did not want to lose any more money. So I started on demo until I got to a point where I was comfortable. Then I would try live accounts here and there, very small amounts. Those would end up getting blown up, but at least it reduced the total amount of investment that I have spent in order to learn trading.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I mean, prop firms have obviously become very, very popular, but I think they're a great learning tool and people overlook that, right? It's like, so I'm really happy to hear you got that advice early of like, get on demo to start. Cause I wish, even looking back, I spent more time paper trading or whatnot. And I didn't find prop firms, but it sounds like we started trading around a similar time to 2019.
For me, it was the end of 2020, going into 2021.
So still similar enough. I mean, 5 years ago now, that's crazy. But I picked it up 6 years ago myself, a somewhat similar timeline. But I wish I spent more time on demo myself. And I think not enough people look at prop firms that way. Like, yes, your evaluations are demo accounts. They're great learning tools. Yes, it brings enormous opportunity on the other side. That's obviously what traders want to work towards eventually. But if you're not profitable yet, I totally agree. Like upfront cost versus personal account, it makes way more sense to give prop firms a look if you're trying to develop good habits. And that's obviously what we built our rules around, especially the standard plan is for people that are trying to still develop those good habits. I know love-hate relationship with consistency rules. They're a great thing for people still trying to develop their habits though. So I am really glad to hear you were told that early on and actually follow up with it.
Yes.
So that's good to hear. And also starting with binary options, that's crazy. I've never heard anybody starting.
Yes.
So that's a pretty funny path to market.
Yeah, that was my very beginning. I thought binary options was the end all be all.
Yeah, which I'm sure it can be for some traders. Just like that was the very first thing that brought you in is crazy. That is really funny. So you mentioned medical school in Aruba. Did you grow up in Aruba?
No, I was born in Trinidad and Tobago, but my family's from Ghana, West Africa.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say the only reason I asked is I'm a huge Red Sox fan, and Xander Bogaerts is from Aruba, so I was like, no way. Did you grow up in that area? Okay, cool, very cool. So then trading, I know you sense a passion for you and everything now. I guess kind of walk me through because I always try to. I was a former engineer, so like I wanted to pay off my student debt is what got me into trading. Similar to you trying to find funds for med school, kind of similarity there between our stories. For me, I never actually planned on quitting and going full time. It did grow into something I've been able to do and everything over the years now, but I really valued my day-to-day paycheck as an engineer. It just was when I was making more from trading, I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to stick around like this. Do you consider doing like kind of both part-time forever or no, like you would love to do trading full-time one day?
So in the beginning, I was like under the impression that I'm just going to make enough so that I have enough money to fund medical school and then, I'll be done trading. But then after about like the first year, I was so hooked in that I'm like, this is what I want to do permanently forever. And it just got to the point where it's just like, once you actually realize the potential that trading has, you have not only the monetary freedom, you don't have to be in like a specific location in the world. You can be anywhere in the world making money. And then also one of the big things for me is that especially like as a physician, you are very, very busy. Like your hours can be crazy, especially in the beginning. And so for me, I've always wanted to be in control of like my own schedule. And so trading is just something that speaks to me personally because it checks off all of the boxes. When I was going to school, I've never even heard that you could be a trader, because that is something that is just, I feel like it's just the ideal type of career. And it's difficult, it's challenging in all of the right ways. I like something that challenges the mind, not something that you can just see and it's just like, oh, okay, I understand this completely. I like something that's challenging, that pushes you to continue to grow, because I've grown a lot through trading over the years to try and get to a point of profitability. It's been a hectic journey, but I could definitely say I'm much better for it after going through that.
It's amazing. I love hearing your mindset on these topics because it's a very mature approach compared to most people. Even, I mean, I know you've been trading a few years now, but there's people that will never get to that mindset in their entire trading career. So kudos for the mature mindset. That's very, very great to hear. So I guess kind of walking through your prop journey a little bit more though, right? You're obviously trading with us at Alpha Futures. What brought you to us? What other firms are you trading with? You've done a payout with us. What about elsewhere? Have you found success? Walk me through all of that.
Yes. So, like I said, I started my prop trading journey last year. I was first trading with like CFD prop firms and then taking challenges with that. But that was around the time that all these firms started to blow up. So I had experienced passing challenges and then the firms going under or not wanting to pay out. So that was a bit nerve-wracking because I was thinking of prop firms as a way of like, oh, this is like a potential income stream. But the way firms were blowing up left and right, it was just really hard to put your trust in that. So I'm like, okay, I just have to focus on personal account only. But then when the futures prop space came around, it seemed a little bit more legitimate. I started seeing different firms that were propping up in the space. I watch the Words of Wisdom podcast and I see a lot of traders with Alpha Capital Group. And so they've really built a name of like reputability in the industry. And so when they announced that they were launching like a futures platform, that really attracted me. And so I decided to go with Alpha Futures, even though I've never actually had done a challenge with Alpha Capital Group. Just that reputation was enough for me to give it a try. So Alpha's Futures was actually the first futures company I've ever tried out. Now I've tried out Blue Guardian Futures as well. I'm currently taking a challenge with them. But yeah, that was the first ever try into futures prop. But yeah, it was basically watching that podcast, seeing all of the payouts. I love hearing like a great reputation of, no payout denials if you follow the rules, stuff like that. And so far, it seems like the future space is a lot more trustworthy than the CFD space has been.
Yeah. And also, I mean, obviously Alpha Capital Group has done a phenomenal job in the FX and CFD space. And there absolutely were some firms that went under for malpractice. Like that is just true. But also I think people need to understand the reason why the future space is more secure is because of the assets you're trading. It's what you as a trader have signed up to trade, which I wish more people on the CFD side understood. Like slippage and stuff in CFDs has to happen based on the nature of those contracts, right? Because like you're just getting in at whatever the broker can hopefully give you, while futures, obviously the reason why it feels more secure and everything is that centralization and regulation. So I am glad to see more and more traders kind of waking up to that because yes, there are absolutely CFD firms that people should shake their fingers at and say that was very wrong. So true. Totally agree. But like those more reputable firms like ACG, like FTMO, there's some others I'm definitely forgetting. You're getting what you asked for as a trader when you trade CFDs. And you know what I mean? ACG always does things honestly and pays out when you follow the rules.
Yeah.
but like people still will look at futures and CFDs and be like, CFDs is kind of the Wild West in comparison. Like, and that's just going to be true always as long as that asset class exists. I wish more people did understand that, but I am just really glad to see more and more people waking up to the future side. Because I mean, I'm obviously here because I believe it has more advantages. That is why I was an ACG trader that was then hired to come run the future side of things, because I saw more value in futures anyways. So it worked out perfectly, but I wish more traders were kind of waking up the way you are, that yeah, the reason why futures is more legit is because of the asset you're actually trading. Now, I'm still going to warn people. I'm sure there's some firms that will come up over the next few years that probably do some malpractice. That, unfortunately, is just their management. It's not the futures industry that's the issue. You're going to run into poorly managed companies in any industry, unfortunately. But I am glad, obviously, you picked us first, and you obviously got a payout, right away with us this year, which is great to see. I would encourage you though, like I mean, any of the names you recognize in the space are well run, that we usually hear people talk about. Top Step, My Funded Futures, Tradeify is one that's starting to pop up a little bit more as well. Like any of the names you recognize, and I would just say look into their management more, because the asset's going to be the same everywhere you go, which is also very comforting as a trader in the future space. Is you do have that comfort that the assets are going to be the same. So I would say just honestly, traders should look into the management of each company. We obviously have a good reputation coming from ACG in the FX space, but if you go into our Discord, if you go into any of our denials, if you look at our reputation on socials, like we address denials with everybody gets a PDF report and a CSV file of exactly their trading history, and we show you exactly what you did wrong. And to me, if you go to another firm, that they will have the same asset and the same trading history, they might not be giving you that proof though, like from management and operations side. So that's what I really try to take pride in is, look, futures trading wise, you're going to get the same everywhere you go. Yeah, if the firm's management and operations though, that's what I think you should care about as a trader, which I am really glad to hear that we came across that way to you. That's obviously me sitting here today. So I do appreciate traders recognizing that, because me and my team have put in a ton of work to make sure that does come across. I'm never going to claim no denials. I really disagree with firms that do that. They're like, you've never done a payout denial. Nope. People do get denied here. It happens. Yeah. But they will receive an email with a full PDF report explaining what they did wrong, a CSV file of the exact trades, and how they can correct it going forward. Like, that's what I will promise always. Never no denials. I think that's a sketchy promise that try to make.
I feel that is unrealistic, because there are going to be people who do either try and cheat the system or just fail the rules, or they'll do one thing that they know they're not supposed to do, or maybe they don't realize they're not supposed to do, and then they still want to get their payout, and then they make a lot of noise on social media. So yeah, I do think it is unrealistic to say absolutely no payout denials ever, but just if there's payouts always for people who follow the rules and don't try anything sketchy, then I think that's a mark of a reputable firm.
Absolutely. And that's why we have traders themselves post payout proof. That's something we get asked about in the Discord quite a bit, actually. They're like, oh, can you do a payout bot? And I'm like, I'd rather not, because it means more to me when you guys see other traders posting their payouts. Yeah. Because we could have a bot say, you know what I mean? All these payouts are processed today, and that's good and great. I'm glad traders feel like they can take our word for it. It's way more important that you guys see other traders posting their payouts, though, because that's the only, undeniable truth, is when those traders themselves post it, which again, I do appreciate that people would take our word for it, but I don't want to get into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that one not? Which again, I do appreciate that people would take our word for it, but just if other people are asking, why don't we have the payout bot? I think it means more when it comes from you guys. So that's why we do appreciate so much those of you that post your payout proof in the Discord or on Twitter. You know what I mean? It builds the trust between us and our traders, which is what we always want. Yeah. Well, now let's talk a little bit how you were able to reach that payout with us. Do you mind walking us through your strategy a little bit? You should be able to share screen if you feel up for it. Just kind of walk us through it real quick. And if not, that's okay too. You just want to kind of talk about it, that's fine as well.
Okay, let me try and See if I have. So currently, this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at NQ on the 1 hour time frame. And so basically how I trade it, it's very simple. I use an indicator to determine my bias for the trend. It's just a series of moving averages from the Williams alligator. And I chose the Williams alligator because it's available on pretty much every platform. So I wanted this to be able to be some universal form of representation I can see to form my bias for the trend. And basically what I'm just looking at is just breaks and retests of key levels. And so, for example, I do my key levels a bit differently. I'm just looking for a break of a structure area with displacement. So, for example, this is what I would be looking at. Relatively equal lows here, I would be looking to take a position. After this breaks, I need a break with displacement. That happens here with these large candles. And then after the break with displacement, I would be looking for a retest of this area, which we get right over here. And this is how I was able to maintain a 100% win rate on my funded account, because you're able to get very accurate entries this way. You don't get a lot of entries, but the entries that you do get are very accurate. And so it's extremely simple. Right now, I'm not looking to take any trade yet. I want to see more volume breaking past this level around here before I'm interested in a trade. After I get a breakout with displacement, then I'm going to be placing an entry here when price comes to retest this area right here. So I'm just looking for recent areas of structure I want to see, like a lot of volume. You see all of this congestion here and this consolidation. I want breakouts of that. Once you get the volume, retest, you take a stab, and then I'm aiming for a minimum 1-to-1, but ideally a 1-to-2. But yeah, that was literally
Very patient style. You only on the 1 hour? Like, is this your execution time frame as well?
Yes, I'm only on the 1 hour. I execute on the 1 hour. I don't drop down. In the past, I did drop down, and I felt like that was just overcomplicating things. This way is just so much more simpler. And then also keep in mind, I have a full-time job, so I need something that's going to allow me to be able to see the entries while on the go, and I don't have to sit around on the chart waiting for the entry. I can go about my day, and then I might miss setups while I'm at work, but I just take setups that I'm available to be there for. That is one thing I'm definitely looking forward to when I'm able to trade full time, because I'll be able to catch so many more setups that I miss. Because there might be days between when I've last taken a trade, or even a week or so before I've last taken a trade. So I'm not currently trading every single day, just mostly due to time. But when I can, I try and patiently wait for a setup. And then when I take that setup, it tends to have a higher probability.
That's great. I love hearing the patience coming through in your style and stuff here. I mean, it's showing that you only trade on the 1 hour. On somebody, the 1 hour is my favorite time frame myself, but I do trade off the 5 minute just because, like we said, availability. I am here all the time and everything. That's great to hear, though. Again, like you found a way with your habits, because that was something when I was still working full time and trading. I would get frustrated that I couldn't trade every day. Really glad to hear you found a strategy though that aligns out with that patient style and everything, and allows for you to actually go do your job day to day. Because I know, like we talked about, you want to be able to get to the point that you can replace your full-time income with trading. I hope that has happened for you. That's really great to hear right now, though, that you're like, nope, work is the priority. I love trading. It's a bad design, but work is my priority day to day. I think so many people get FOMO because they expect trading to just take over like that. So that is good to hear you've got such a patient strategy, because I think that's what aligns best with people that have full-time jobs.
Yes, and what you said right there is a very big deal, because I think what really ruins traders, and this was a big thing I struggled with too, is they think, like, especially when I was starting to learn during the lockdown, people think that you're gonna go full time right away, and then you're gonna trade and you're gonna make all this money and it's gonna be great. But you starting out, you really should have some type of funding coming in from somewhere. So the best advice for a new trader would be to get a job, at least for me, because that took away a lot of the what you think is like FOMO or just like over trading is really just desperation because you're trying to pay bills from your trading before you've really built up a nest egg and a safety net. But once you have that steady income coming in, it allows you to be more patient. So I'm not freaking out when I don't take a trade in a week because I know I can wait for a really, really great setup because I have income coming in. I'm not depending on this to pay bills. This is just like a luxury add-on on top of the income that I'm already making. And then once I get to a point where I have a big enough nest egg saved up and I have a big enough personal account, then I'll be able to trade full time, but without as much stress because I know my bills are paid for the year, my bills are paid for next year. I'm just good to just focus on waiting, being patient, looking for my setup, and then just going through that process as I designed it in my trading plan.
Love it. Absolute golden nugget there for everybody watching on YouTube. Watch that part back. I know I've said it in other videos. I was like, whatever you're making more money in, that should be your priority. If you have surpassed your daytime job with trading, awesome. You can shift that priority. But I mean, you nailed it there. That income is what's going to probably make you a better trader because you're more calm. Love that. Absolute golden nugget there. I definitely encourage people to watch that part back. I love that, William. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. So, in one other thing I want to say there, actually, based on your strategy there, I understand even more now why you came to us first. We are one of the only firms in the space that doesn't require traders to take a trade once per week. That is the inactivity rule at most other firms is at least one trade per week. Not the kicks with us. As long as you are logging into your trading platform at least once a month with us, we will leave your account active. So I am glad to hear that we're actually one of the only firms that has worked with your strategy because I think it's great for people with full-time jobs to be doing what you're doing.
Yes, actually, I almost forgot about that. Yes, that is one thing I do not like at all. I do not like being forced to take a trade every single, it's 7 days for most firms. I feel like that forces you to make bad decisions because not every week is a good trading week. Not every day is a good trading day. You should be able to have the flexibility to say, all right, there are no good setups. The market's really chopping around. Let's try another day. Let's try another week. Giving yourself that time, or even if there's stuff going on in your life, just being able to say, all right, I shouldn't be trading right now. I need to be able to have a clear head, clear mind, so I'm not forcing setups or getting into bad setups and not following my process, which is more likely to lead to tilt. So I did actually really love that. I was looking at your FAQ and I didn't see anything about placing one trade every 7 days. So that was a big deal to me.
Good. I'm glad because that was the intention of the rule, right? Like, hey, look, we know traders are going to make bad decisions. That's going to happen. You have to be responsible for that though, right? Like there's no reason for us to force you to make those bad decisions.
Yes.
Because yeah, like that, I mean, that's even what we try to approach with denials or breaches or anything is like, hey, we give you guys the tools that you had to make these decisions. I know that's hard to hear for some people, but we're not forcing you to make these decisions. And that was the intention of that rule. So I am glad to hear you've been able to find success with it and appreciate it too. Well, that is yes to hear. Cool. All right, now let's get into some more general questions and stuff here, kind of more motivational stuff you see me do at the end of the videos. Well, I'm happy to take more time we scheduled. I appreciate your time already. But I guess walking through, you know what I mean? Why alpha? Like I know we talked about obviously inactivity rule. Just talk about, what have you enjoyed in your experience and what's going to keep you coming back to us because we want to make sure we continue those things.
Yes, so Alpha Futures was my first foray into futures, and so I do love, like I said, the reputability, the name behind it, and then I also love the content that you guys put out, because I feel like it's really centered around helping traders become better traders. Once you are able to take away advice from, hearing other traders in their interviews and different, also on the Alpha Capital Group YouTube channel, you guys also make some different content that's just centered around trying to make traders better traders. And I love to support a company that's actually genuinely invested in, trying to make the trader the best possible, not just trying to take the trader's money. And so I did appreciate that a lot about Alpha Futures. That is why I wanted to trade with them. And yeah, it's been a great process. I love the platform choices. It was very simple so that I could log on my phone on the go, and just be able to place those trades. I believe it's Alpha Platform is the name of your platform.
Yeah, so that's just the website, Alpha Platform. Alpha Ticks, it's by Project X.
Alpha
So
Ticks.
same team that's developed Top Step X, Project X. They do an incredible job. I love that platform too. It's what I trade with. I trade with at other firms, firms and stuff. I always look for anybody offering Project X because I do love their platform as well.
Yeah, I definitely loved that because coming from, I love MetaTrader. And so coming from MetaTrader, being able to just drag and drop the stop losses and take profits is huge for me because, like, especially like when I'm on the go, having to input the numbers on the go when I just need to put it in really quickly is kind of cumbersome. But if I can just drag and drop the stop loss and take profit levels, it's just beautiful for me. And then,
Crazy that I don't get how every trading platform doesn't have it by now. Yes, that it. Yeah, it's tough phone. But yeah, very glad to have it, especially for those transitioning over from MetaTrader for sure.
yeah,
Continue.
yeah, yeah. So that was definitely a big deal. Also at Alpha Futures, I do appreciate the your maximum withdrawal caps are a bit higher than every other firm. So that was nice too. So overall, it's been a pretty great experience trading with Alpha Futures.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And I know we'll see you for more payouts too. So I really appreciate your time so far. Just a couple more questions here to wrap up. So obviously originally set out, thought about med school and everything with those payouts. When did you actually spend your first payout on? All the other traders I was like when I asked this question.
So a funny thing about me is I'm not a big spender at all. I don't spend money. So I just literally put the money into my savings account.
Saved it.
Yeah, I didn't spend that on. Yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. Well, I hope we get to pad your savings a little bit more with some more payouts on the way. Yes. Was there anything else, William, you wanted? Maybe I haven't asked you that you were looking forward to talk about. Anything you'd like to ask me today?
Nothing off the top of my head. Only maybe if I know this isn't typical for the platform. I don't know. I don't think Project X would allow. But like, if there's ever a futures platform that allows EAs, because once I was getting started in my journey, one of the reasons why it took me a few years is I spent about 1 to 2 years learning to develop EAs. So I create EAs. So that helps me. It helps me because I'm not able to be at my chart all the time. And so, like, for instance, for trading my personal account, I can trade my prop firm accounts manually, and then my personal accounts I trade on MetaTrader with the EAs. But I would just love to be able to take the EAs that I create and put them one day on a futures platform, only because I really believe in EA trading, because if you're able to code your strategy exactly as you do it, you're able to eliminate one of the biggest risks, and that is the human emotion of you just waking up one day and deciding not to follow your rules. If you have your strategy programmed, it's not even an option. And so even if that doesn't end up being something that happens with the futures platform, that is something that I do recommend to people, is to don't go buy an EA, not a third-party EA, but learn how to code your own EA and create an EA from your strategy on whatever platform that you're using. That if whatever platform that allows it, you are going to trade so much better when you know that every single day you either take a setup or you don't, based off of the rules. It's not based off of, oh, well, I see this or I don't. I'm very mechanical with my trading. If all the rules align and it matches my setup, I take the trade every single time. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I don't like this or I don't like that. I just have a clearly defined set of rules, and it's either A, and if it's not A, then I don't take the trade.
You're still sticking with those binary options all this time. That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah. So for the EAs that I create of my strategies, I'll trade those on like CFD firms. I did want to get back into binary options just for like laughs. I felt like that would be fun, but maybe I'll do that later on.
Cool. So let me at least give you some, feedback, and like we have tried to consider that in ways. The big reason why you see the future space doesn't allow EAs the way CFDs are, honestly, is that path to live. And the reason for that whole path to live, we're trying to find candidates, right? We're trying to find talented candidates, not just EAs, to bring into Alpha Prime as our program, if you haven't checked that out yet, right? So that's where we are looking for more than just a strategy. We are looking for personalities that will align well with our Alpha Prime traditional team. So that is a piece of it, is like we do want proof from the person, not just EAs. But something we are working on is essentially like a subscription-based model that you can use something like an EA almost as an application to come work at Prime with us. Like, if you get what I'm saying, like it's almost like a subscription to our dashboard that tracks your personal account. You know what I mean? If you're running an EA, like it tracks that performance. Basically us as acting as like a third party vetting performance, whether you were trading a futures account with us or not. So like if you're running those EAs on a personal account on NinjaTrade or something, for example, we're working on it now. It's probably still a few months away, to be honest, when Prime launching and everything. But if somebody's not trading a sim funded account with us, but still wants to apply to work and trade at Alpha Prime, they can use that track record as an application. We just need to be able to obviously vet that track record and application. Yes. So one way we'd be able to do it is obviously like, hey, you pay us a $10 subscription for a month, and basically you would get your own Alpha Prime dashboard that is tracking all that performance. That's when you'd be able to say, hey, look, I developed this great automated strategy. I want you guys to see it. All you would do would be essentially sign up for the $10 a month or whatever we end up pricing it. And that is our vetting of your EA to see if it actually works. Obviously, go a few months of track record. It's working well. That's when the Alpha Prime team would approach you and be like, hey, look, we've seen what we need to see. Your dashboard, like I said, your dashboard is your application. This looks great. So like we are trying to find opportunities for people, because we know, somebody like yourself, very smart guy, has been able to develop an EA that is profitable. That we are trying to find opportunities to get those people in the door as well. It'll probably be that way I just described, though, just because for the future side, we do want to seek, again, that talented manual trader that can show us they understand the market well, they're able to control their emotions. Because if we're going to hire that person on Prime, that's what we want from their transfer path to live. But with the EA stuff, it's like, hey, if you prove to us it's profitable through our third-party betting system and everything with that dashboard, absolutely. Let's have a conversation how it can work for both sides there. That is stuff we are working on and want to take into consideration for sure.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that program. That program that you're describing sounds incredible, actually.
Cool. So please know, Joe, if people don't know the dynamic, right? I'm not an owner of the Alpha Group. It's Drew, it's George, and it's Alex. Those are the three owners. And so I sit obviously below them in the hierarchy. But like I'm always working with them on products and things to improve with our traders and everything. George and I are trying to figure out a way how we can launch that with Alpha Prime. Because we know there's other people out there that want the same. So please know we are working on it though. But I'm glad to hear you kind of like the initial reaction and stuff.
Yes, I love it.
I'm glad to hear that. Cool. Good. Glad to hear that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that feedback. I do really appreciate it. And also appreciate you asking the question because it gives me a chance to obviously share some of the things we're working on in the background. So yeah, awesome. All right. Last thing I've got for you, William. You obviously talked about, you did stay on demo early in your career. Did well. What's something you wish you were told sooner though in your trading career? Some piece of advice you would like to pass on to the traders that maybe you learned later, but you weren't told early enough in your trading career?
Okay, so one of the main things that I would wish I was told earlier is that for trading, the psychology issues typically stem from a lack of financial security. So if you're able to take care of that financial security in your personal life, be it by getting a job or even rather getting a better paying job, it's going to advance your trading so much more. Just moving from the jobs that I was doing to finding a better paying job, it was night and day change in my trading because now I know I'm not like on every single trade, oh man, this really needs to play out. You're like praying that this pays out so you can really have a great trading month, and that forces you to make like not so great decisions. And so that is something, if I had done even earlier, I would be even more successful in my trading because then I would focus on finding that higher income stream outside of trading. And then I would be a lot even more patient sooner and be able to wait for the setups like I do now and just be able to think clearly and not try and force it or add all these unnecessary extra positions or revenge trade. And it'll just decrease the likelihood of going on tilt in general.
Love it. Love it. Like I said, that was the golden nugget to me throughout this interview. I think you encompassed it and displayed it incredibly, incredibly well for traders to understand. So thanks so much for that. So awesome. William, thank you so much for your time today, man. We really, really appreciate it from our side on Alpha Futures, and I know the audience will as well. So anybody, guys, if you have questions for me or William, feel free to drop them in the comments on this video whenever it is posted to YouTube. I'm sure it'll be chopped up on Instagram and stuff the way you see now. You should probably see your face popping up on our page in just a couple weeks here. But yeah, I would be glad to answer any additional questions people have, and I'll forward them over to William if he has any questions for him in particular. But thank you so much for your time today, William. We really appreciate it. Everybody make sure to hit that thumbs up button for William and hit that subscribe button for watching our next trader interview so you don't miss it.